In my theory, every person is born to do ordinary miracles for the ordinary people. I don't know about other people, but in my life it happens often that I need something badly, something important, different things. For example, I want someone to be healthy, or I want to support someone so that everything would be good in their family, or I want that my friend would have a baby very much, or for example, for myself to give birth to a healthy baby. There are different kinds of desires that people have and that I have. And in my life I know exactly that only a miracle can help. I've noticed this a very long time ago. And it was always very interesting to me, why do some people have miracles in their lives and some don't have any miracles in their lives? Some people believe that miracles happen, and some people don't believe that miracles happen. I've studied this subject for a long time, and what was the result? Doing miracles is easy. Everything is so much simpler than we think. A miracle can be done not just by someone for themselves, but for different kinds of miracles, a different number of people is needed. For example, when I had a terminal illness where the result was predetermined and not much time left to live, I counted 300 people made this miracle happen that I sit here now and talk and do something else. What kind of miracles are there? Well, for instance, I know a person to whom it was very important to create an enterprise where people wouldn't just work, but make good money, provide for their families, and that everything would be happy and joyful in their families, and they would be able to afford to buy a place to live, go on holiday somewhere, do something interesting together, and so on. And we created this miracle together with this person. We counted that about 5,000 people took part in this, and this can vary. People do different things. Someone, for example, would wish something from the bottom of their heart for this to happen. Someone who believes in Jesus Christ, for example, would pray some Orthodox prayers. Someone makes this enterprise work. Some lawyers were involved. Someone did something else. And when there are a lot of people that gather for the purpose of one common task, this task becomes a miracle, where other miracles happen in large numbers for a lot of people. I get fired up by this process of making miracles, and I can't say I teach the people this. I can say that I organize, and maybe I just inform people that they can, and it's time to do it. And when people start acting and doing real deeds, then a lot of miracles happen, all kinds of miracles. But it must be unconditional. It can be like this: I need a miracle, so I make it. There must be no strings attached. For example, you need this, and I do it because you need it, not because I need it. A miracle is a miracle exactly because there's no logical chain. I can honestly say a logical chain is absent in any miracle. But when I participate in creating a miracle for a large number of people, to this day I still can't say why I survived and how or what, but a lot of people joined this process and a miracle happened to me. Maybe it would have not happened, as miracles are not guaranteed. The only thing in our life that's for certain is that we'll all die, and there are no guarantees for anything else. This will happen to each of us. I mean, with our physical bodies, of course. And what happens then? Well, everyone believes in different things. Miracles are not guaranteed, but they always happen when a person becomes a wonder worker. But it can't be like, I make a miracle so that a miracle would happen to me. That can't happen. It must come from the heart and be unconditional. I call it love. With love towards the people and love of the homeland, which is very important to me. Right now, there's a group of people I support. It's important to them that there be a national idea, and they want to create a miracle. For 23 years in our country, there hasn't been a national idea. I don't know if you've heard, they created a national idea of living by conscience to the glory of the homeland. And I've noticed throughout the years, I've been involved in creating miracles for 9 years, that a necessary condition is to love your homeland. And without love, nothing works. If there's conditionality, or even goals, which I don't like to refer to, even though we do set them, it's more interesting for me to create miracles where there is no guarantee. A goal is more guaranteed, for instance. I set a goal, I can or not, I want or not, I still get to it. But a miracle is not guaranteed, so it always happens unexpectedly, and always more than you expected. When it's with love, for example, for me a miracle was just to survive and to hug my kids every day. What happens now? There are a lot of people I meet, I hug and I socialize with, visit different towns. A lot of kids have been born to women I supported. Many families were created, businesses, jobs. What happened is hundreds and thousands of times greater than I wanted, which is why it is more interesting for me to create miracles than to realize goals. Because a goal is something closer and more conditional. And when a person reaches their goal, he doesn't always act ecologically well towards another human being. But it's more interesting when the scale of things is greater, that it would exceed all expectations. A man was standing and praying to God, and these men passed by him, a blind, impoverished and mangy man, a man who had no money but needed them very much, a man who really wanted to get married and wanted prosperity for his family so that they would live long and happy for the rest of their lives. Another man who wanted to be respected by people. Another man who wanted everyone to live by the rules and postulates and respect each other and value each other. Another man who wanted to see everything in his life, to have enough time to do everything and be most successful in all aspects of his life. A man who wanted to have a cool team that he could turn the impossible into possible with, that all of them would be at ease with each other and understand and respect each other, and understand at a glance or without words at all. A man who wanted everyone in the world to have everything. And one other man who wanted to realize what he was born for to the maximum, that the world would know him and he could do things for the world. The man who was praying looked up to the sky and said, "Lord, you are so all-powerful. You can do everything. You created everything. You created this world. You made everything. You see everything. So why can't you give these people what you've made for them?" And God, after a silent moment, said, "I did something for them. I made you." I believe in God and believe in the fact that He created the world. And this question always comes to me: if I believe in God, then in whom does God believe? I think the answer is evident. God believes in me. And the main postulate is that with love you must accept faith in God and do everything I can for every person passing me, independent of what their dreams are, what their desires are, what their goals are. Do everything and more than I can for every person so that they could achieve what's important to them. Intuition works in every person. You may like it or not, you may not like it. Some people say, "I don't have an intuition." That's akin saying to someone, "I don't have a head." Some people's heads work differently. Some have everything, so that all works best, materially, morally, physically, and another's could be in such a way that he's disabled, and he doesn't have anything, even a place of his own. There are people like that. Nevertheless, it's silly to say to anyone, "I don't have a head." Everyone has a head. Same about intuition. Some people have it working, and it's important that it would work for something important. If you were to explain about it, it would be like Googling. So I enter something into myself, something important to do, and intuition takes me where I do it. Same as in Google, when I enter a word, say love, I have no idea what results will be shown. It could be poems, movies, websites about love, people's stories. Could be anything with this word. And it's the same with intuition. I enter what's important to me into it. For example, miracles are important to me, on an industrial scale, as I say. And I don't know how they're going to happen, but they happen every day, and I'm surprised myself. In the beginning, it was difficult for me to get it started. For miracles to start happening took about 3 or 4 months. For these non-standard, at times small things to happen. But later, when more of them started to happen, interest had increased and drive appeared. Big joy appears when you feel your participation in that. That's how my intuition works. But my dream is for all people to become wonder workers. Because when we create miracles for each other, it would be interesting for me what will happen. I think it would be very interesting to live in such a world. That is my dream, that every person could create miracles. Very simple. You know, for a long time I had a dream, which I've started realizing now, and I never thought it was possible for it to be realized. To write a book. What can one simple woman do in one simple life? I'm 41 now. I was planning to write it when I would be in my 70s, but I've already started writing this book, which describes the life of a very simple person who did not have any special characteristics or special parents. My mom is a simple nurse and my dad is just an engineer. I had a very ordinary education. Not even in Moscow, never mind overseas. Very simple friends, work, and so on. And I will write about all the stories that happen to people. Very different stories. There are people who started realizing their dreams. One fellow, for example, who I've supported in realizing his dream, had always dreamt of building bridges all his life. And within 8 years, he took part in building 8 bridges. Of course, when he was describing how it was and what he feels when he's walking on that bridge, I think anyone would get inspired to build bridges. I think in our country there would be more bridges then. Also, I think I'll describe situations when people really wanted to recover, and by a simple action, just to go and do something useful and valuable with this person. When they think life is over and there's no hope left. And through them doing something for others, faith turns on in them through this, and they recover or start moving towards the recovery. Or, for example, a dream of those women who can't have kids is to give birth. There are a lot of women who I've supported in that. There are many dreams of people that I participated in, and in this book I want to describe what a totally ordinary person can do for other people. Right now there are hundreds of these other people, and maybe I won't use all the stories. I think every person could write such a book about themselves. And maybe this will be valuable to the next generations, or at least to your own children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. When they'll need second wind, they'll take out this book by their grandmother or grandfather, will read it and get up and do something on the path to their dream. I think a person who is able to be happy for other people will surely rejoice in the moment when something happens for him. When in his life not just a realization of his dream will come, but a completely ordinary miracle happens in his life. And maybe in your agenda there'll be a time when you'll be doing ordinary miracles. And then the happiness that you'll feel, you maybe will be able to pass on to your loved ones, family, friends, and maybe someone will believe that ordinary people do miracles, to whom it's important that they happen.